So this is the blanket pattern I'm working on. It's an easy 2-row repeat, has some fringe, and it is knit the body in Remix Chunky, and the fringe is Remix Light. So I did a little bit of the fringe just so you can get a feel for it. It has a little section here. The beginning and the end is a little bit different. So this is a 12 stitch, pretty easy repeat here. And this is the body here. So just in case you aren't familiar with how to do these different techniques, I thought I would show you. So what you're doing in the whole body of this blanket is you are knitting into the stitch and not taking it off. You're doing a yarn over, so you're increasing the stitch, and then you're knitting back in that stitch again. So you're turning one stitch into 3 stitches, which creates this hole all the way down. And then it's telling you to slip a stitch, knit 2 together, and then you pass the slip stitch over. And that is the whole body. So you'll have 3 stitches and 1 stitch, 3 stitch, 1 stitch, all the way across the blanket. We'll do that one more time. So you knit into the stitch. I knit continental, so I just yarn over. But you could do it this way and yarn over. So you're just making an extra stitch here, and then you're knitting the stitch. So that turns that single stitch into 3 stitches. You're slipping a stitch, and then you're knitting 2 together. And then you're passing this slip stitch over. And we'll do it one more time. So you go in here, I knit continental, so I grab it here, and then I knit here. So that increases to make it 3 stitches. At the very end, the beginning you knit 2 together. At the very end, this is just happens at the very beginning of the blanket. At the very end, you slip, slip, and knit 2 together. And then this section here, for the 12 stitches at the beginning of the pattern and the 12 stitches at the end, it asks you to knit into 2 stitches, but don't take the stitches off, and then knit into the first stitch. So here's the first stitch we didn't knit, so we're gonna knit it. So that twists the stitch. Then it asks you to skip a stitch. Don't slip it, skip the stitch and knit into the back. So you're gonna knit into this part of the stitch here. So then you just knit in here and bring it through, and then knit the first stitch that we didn't knit. So I'll do that 2 more times, and I'll do it this way so you can see. So you're gonna knit these 2 stitches together, just like you would if you were gonna do a decrease. So knit them together, put your yarn around, and then make sure there are 2 stitches here. Make sure you knit the first stitch, like this. And that twists the stitches. Now it's asking you to skip the stitch, so don't do anything to it. And you're gonna knit through the back loop. So we've skipped this one, we're gonna knit through the back loop, and you go around just like you would in the front. Then we haven't knit this first stitch here, so then you knit it. So it's just rearranging the stitches as if you're cabling. So then you take it off. So down here, I'm going to do it one more time, but I'm going to do it continental. You knit the 2 stitches. You make sure you knit this first stitch here, and then you slide it off so the stitches have been slipped. Then you're going to knit this back last stitch here, and then we still have to knit this stitch because there are 2 stitches here, and you knit that stitch. So that's producing this first section here, which looks slightly cabled, and then this is the majority of the blanket here. You would put fringe all the way across the bottom of it, and then the back stitch what you do, the whole back of the blanket is just purl. So it is a very easy, repetitive pattern, and I'm really enjoying it.